Hey, we are now going to do the now fourth problem, which is subtraction. And we're going to subtract 4, 3, 1 in base 5, subtract 2, 4, 3 in base 5. We're going to do it in base blocks again, like we did the first question, but we're also going to use this paper a lot because this one gets kind of confusing. So we'll start off as with showing down here. So again, we have the same exact model shown. We have cubes, flats, rods, and units. And we're going to be using our base blocks. Now one thing with this problem, it gets a little confusing because most of our numbers are smaller on top than they are on bottom, which you cannot subtract. So we'll start off with this. We'll start off as 1 minus 3 you cannot do. So we must borrow. So we're going to borrow from the rods column, which is 3. So this is going to make this a 2. And then over here, because we're in base 5, it gives us 5 more, which this then equals 6. 5 plus 1 equals 6. So now we have 6, and we'll show that on our down here. So here's our 1 and our 3. And then we borrowed 1 rod from the rods category, which gave us 5 units. So here's shown 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we borrowed from the rods column, plus our 1, which equals 6, minus 3. So we minus 3, and we have 3 left over. So those then go down here in the units. 1, 2, 3. Let's move these up here so it's not as confusing. So 1, 2, 3. That is what we have for the units. So now we'll move on to the rods. So we have now 2 minus 4 in base 5. So here we have 1, 2 minus 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we cannot minus 2 from 4, so we must borrow from the flats, which makes this now a 3. And because we borrowed 5, because we're in base 5, we'll take that off, and we'll go 5 plus 2 is 7. So here we have 1, 2, and then we borrowed this from the flats. So now we have 1, 2, which was right here, plus 5 more because we borrowed them from the flats over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we take away, it is now 7 subtract 4. So here we'll then take away 4 from 7, which leaves us with 3. 1, 2, 3. So that gives us 3 in the rods. So now we have 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And now, because we have 3 left over in the flats, because we've taken 1 away when we used it in this last one, minus 2. And because this bottom number is smaller than the top number, we don't have to borrow. So we can go 3 minus 2 equals 1. So 1 in the flats. Here we have this in base 5. Now we have 1, 3, 3 in base 5, and that is shown right here. Now we will go on to explain and show what we have, how we'll prove this. So let's put these up here.